What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching another video. We're already starting this video driving, and it's a beautiful Sunday, and I'm gonna answer in this video one of the most important questions that I've been getting asked a lot in my YouTube comments and in my Instagram DMs, and that's daily driving your hybrid turbo Volkswagen or Audi. And in my opinion, that is something important to know, and some things to know when you're getting into it, just because obviously when you're extensively modifying a car to that extent, one of the things that is going to basically put fear in you and make you scared to drive the car every day is if the car is making so much power and there's so much done and modified to the car, isn't it going to break down more often? And that's not necessarily true. So in today's video, let's go over my tips if you're going to be daily driving your hybrid turbo Volkswagen or Audi. First off, let me start by saying I have been driving my Audi S3 now for about a month and a half every single day. I haven't even touched my MK7 GTI. I haven't even touched the car. It's been sitting. I start it like 2 or 3 times a week to make sure that it gets up to operating temp, that the battery doesn't die, and all of that stuff. And I'll take it around my community and then come back and park it. But I have not taken that car out and driven it on the road in about a month and a half. I've been using this car, my Audi S3, every single day, no matter what. Doesn't matter the weather, if it snowed a little bit, if it's raining. Typically, I was always kind of like afraid, and I know it's just an S3, something crazy, but in my fleet of cars, this is my nice car. This is my highest modified car that I have. This is the most money into a car that I've ever had, and I want to make sure that it's taken care of and protected every single day. So that's why I have some fear sometimes when driving this car, if you guys understand that. But I've been driving this car nonstop every single day. I can't get enough of it because of the way the setup of this car is, and I've had absolutely not one problem when I've been daily driving this car. For those of you who don't know, my Audi S3 has a Vortex XL hybrid turbo from EQT. Basically, a quick rundown of my mods if you are just tuning into my channel for the first time. This is a 2017 Audi S3. Again, I have a hybrid EQT Vortex XL turbo. I have a CTS MPI kit, EQT low pressure fuel pump. I have APR upgraded intercooler, full exhaust, intake. I have pretty much every single bolt-on that you can have on this car without actually building the engine. And I haven't taken it to the dyno yet, but I'm assuming that this car on 93 makes somewhere between 470 and 480 wheel horsepower, and probably low, maybe 410 to 420 wheel torque. And I'm assuming that this car on full E85, which it absolutely rips when the car is on full E85, should be making somewhere in the ballpark of 520 to 530 wheel horsepower, and probably somewhere in the 440 to 450 wheel torque range. The best thing that you guys can do if you're going to be daily driving your highly modified car, especially on a setup similar to mine, is you're going to want to make sure that you're up to date on your maintenance, and you're going to be wanting to do more than regular maintenance before the intervals that you usually do on a normal car. The reason being is when you have such a highly modified car, you typically like to put your foot into it. Even if you're daily driving it, you tend to drive the car a little more aggressively, even if you try not to. And that'll wear things a lot quicker. It means that you have to do your services a lot sooner. So I recommend, obviously, you change your oil at a decent interval, probably somewhere in the 3,000 to 4,000 mile range max. You're gonna wanna change, if you have a DSG car, you're gonna wanna change your DSG fluid and filter, probably in about half the time. Usually it's recommended by Volkswagen and Audi to change it every 40,000 miles. But if you have a setup like mine, I recommend you probably changing it somewhere in the 20 to 30,000 mile range max. And the same is gonna go for your Haldex services. You're gonna wanna do that in about half the time as well. Instead of about 40,000 miles, you're probably gonna wanna do it in somewhere in the 20 to 30K range, because that's gonna keep everything running optimal. It's gonna be keeping your car running at its premium, most optimal point that you could possibly have it at, and that's the most important thing. It'll help not to have the car break down on silly things that you could avoid by just doing proper maintenance. Another thing that I highly recommend is that you guys use top of the line everything. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times when it comes to maintenance on these cars, you could go to the auto parts store, you could get things off the shelf, but I highly recommend you just doing the extra step and the extra mile to put really good top of the line products in your car. My recommendation for oils would either be a Motul oil or Liqui Moly. Those seem to be the two best for European spec cars. And I also highly recommend when you're doing your DSG service and you're doing the filter that you use OEM fluid. I know there are some aftermarket, I think Motul and Liqui Moly also make aftermarket fluid for the cars that are pretty good, but typically anybody will recommend you use OEM fluids when it comes to the DSG and using OEM fluids when it comes to your Haldex service. That'll keep everything everything 100%. I know you're spending a little bit more money, but that's just the extra peace of mind to know that everything's going to be running properly and nothing's going to break. Now, in my experience, at least with my S3, not as much with my GTI, but with my S3, this car, even when it was stock, wasn't the best car on gas. I could never seem to achieve great gas mileage with this car when it was stock to stage 1 to stage 2, especially E30. And now that I have the hybrid setup with the MPI kit, which obviously that adds an extra 4 injectors, so the car's going to be using a lot more fuel, especially when you're at WA, when you're driving the car spirited and fun, it's going to be using a ton of fuel. And I cannot get good gas mileage with this car, obviously, and that is to be expected. If you're going to be daily driving a car that's highly modified, you have a turbo that's going to demand so much fuel, you have an extra pumping low pressure fuel pump, MPI, or even high pressure fuel pump, you're just going to be running through a lot more fuel. So just keep in mind that you aren't going to get the best fuel mileage. You're going to be spending a lot more money on fuel, you're going to be going to the gas station a lot more frequently. And let me just give you a reference point. On E85, I had this car on E85 for about a month straight. I went back to 93 now just because the winter E-content has been horrible in my area. I'm in Jersey, and in the winter, E-content drops sometimes even below E60. And the last station that I went to test the ethanol content, it was at E57, and it's just not good to put that in this car. It's not going to run right. It's too low of an E-content to keep up with the tune and the demand of the tune, so I'm just going to run 93 until the E-content goes above E60 again, probably in the E70 range, so I can finally dyno the car. But anyways, I average about, no joke, and this is driving normally. This is normal driving, not even getting into it like that, probably 160 to about 170 miles on the tank on E85, and that's like really pushing it. And then on 93, I've been getting about 220 to 230. On my stage 2 93 tune, I could probably get somewhere in the 250 to 260 range, and on E30, probably like 240-ish, somewhere in that range if I remember correctly. And stock, I think my best was like 280 to 290. I think like once or twice I was able to achieve that before I started tuning the car. So keep that in mind. If you are going to go this route and extensively modify your car, you're going to get horrible fuel mileage. So it is going to be more expensive to drive the car every day because you're going to be spending so much more money on fuel. So obviously the most important thing that everybody wants to know is the reliability. In my opinion, so far, like I said, I've had this car at this level for about 3 months now altogether, and I've had absolutely no problems. My tuning process went absolutely smoothly. I got through every single revision without any issues whatsoever, and Matt, my tuner from EQT, didn't notice anything at all that I was having problems with anything, which is obviously super important. Because if there was any issues, I would have to look into the stuff that I did, and I would have to correct any of the issues that he would have found and told me. But through the whole process, the car ran very good. I've had no issues, barely any knock on any of my revisions, and it looks like everything that I did was correct in my installations. And that's the most important thing, is if you're going to do the work yourself, or you're going to take it to a shop, either A, know what you're doing and ask questions if you need to, ask a buddy if he knows more than you do, or B, if you're going to take it to a shop, make sure you're taking it to a reputable shop. You want to make sure that they do the work properly, because the last thing you need is to spend a ton of money at a shop, have them install all your stuff, them doing stuff wrong, and then having to go to another shop to have them correct the problems, or continue to spend money to basically like hunt down little issues that shouldn't have been there in the first place if it was done correctly the first time. The good thing about the MQB platform is it's been out for about 8 years now, because 2015 was the first year of the EA888.3 engine, and the MQB platform was born, and they have been known to be extremely reliable, way more than some of the older previous turbo Volkswagen generations, like the Mark V, the Mark VI, etc. So these cars have been known to put a lot of miles on high horsepower and have literally zero issues. There are so many people in Facebook groups and forums that have over 100,000 miles, 120, 130, even I've seen up to 160,000 miles on stock engines running over 500 wheel horsepower for 60, 70 miles, 1,000 miles, I'm sorry. And the cars run like a top. They run like they are brand new off the showroom floor, and that is the goal. If you take care of your car and you do the things correctly, your car is going to be reliable and last. I have never had one issue with this car. Not one issue I've had with this car. I've owned this car for more than 2 years now. I've put approximately like 18,000 miles on the car. I've done multiple passes at the drag strip, a lot of launches, a lot of highway pulls. This car never skips a beat. It always runs 100%, but I make sure that I'm always on top of everything. I change my spark plugs when I need to. I change my oil when I need to. I change my fluids when I need to. If anything ever feels a little off, I'll take a log just in case it's even in my head, just to make sure that I'm doing things the right way and that the car is going to be running at 100% every single day. And I've never daily driven this car before it got to this point, which is funny because even when the car was stock or stage 1, stage 2 for the longest time that it was, I did not daily drive this car. It would be driven just on the weekends. And now that the car is at its highest modified state that I've ever owned it in, I have been driving this car the most that I ever have in the more than 2 years that I've owned the car. But that's because it's been so much fun, and that's because I trust my car, I trust the work that I did to my car, and I trust my tuner. And those three things together makes me have the peace of mind to drive this car every day without having the worry of something going wrong. And that's what you guys want ultimately, is that if you're gonna be daily driving your highly modified car, that you're not gonna have any worries when you get into it. You can just turn the key, drive it, beat on it, and know that it's gonna take it every single time. So that's gonna leave us with the final question, guys. Should you daily drive your hybrid setup, highly modified Volkswagen and Audi? Honestly, the answer is yes. A lot of us only have one car, and we want to modify our tuner car, and that's understandable. And if you are going to dedicate yourself to making sure that everything is 100%, you will have no issues daily driving your car. And that is the beauty of this platform. That is the beauty of the huge aftermarket support that this platform has now, that you could do so many things. You could do like so many different mods and so many different tuners, bolt-ons, everything, and you're going to be fine. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to be able to take out our car whenever we want, and it's going to take it every single time. And that's why I've been daily driving this car, because I want to kind of prove to myself that this car is as reliable as everybody makes it out to be. And this car is 100% been reliable for me. I've driven this car hard. You have seen all the pulls that I've done in my videos, everything. I have not been easy on this car since it's gotten to this point. And I've been daily driving it. It's the first time I've been daily driving this car, and it's been nothing but amazing. It's been nothing but reliable. It's been nothing but fun. And at the end of the day, again, that is what we want. We want a reliable, fun daily driver. So yes, go out and daily drive your car. Go out and have fun with your car every single day. Go out and do it. It is worth it. It is going to be rewarding as long as you do things the right way. You're going to be rewarded every single time you get into your car and you go to have fun. And that is the most important thing, guys. We want to have fun in a reliable manner, in a safe way. And every single time we go to give our car a nice hard pull, is going to take it, and we're not going to have any issues. And that's basically, guys, the ultimate goal of doing a build like this. I don't regret it at all doing a build to this like level. It's been fun. Obviously, it is worrying sometimes when you're spending all this money and you just want everything to be 100%. But once you get the clarification from your tuner that everything is going great and everything is like basically running the way it's supposed to, or even better than they expected it to go, because that's what happened in my situation, guys. I would ask Matt a lot of questions, and he was like, hey, you know what, the car's taking everything very well, it's taking it, you know, awesome. A lot of cars out there, when things aren't done right, or sometimes just the condition of those cars, they don't take the extra modifications well. And of course, you know, we got to work out those kinks if that happens, but in my case, it's been great. I recommend you guys go out there, do a little bit of research, go watch some of my other videos of just the entire tuning process of how everything works. And I'm sure if this is the way that you want to go with your car, it is going to be nothing but a safe and fun time for you. And I recommend it to anybody. So guys, that's going to conclude the video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you're gonna go and modify your car, have fun with it, and daily drive it, it's gonna be worth it. And I can't wait to get this car on a dyno and just see what it makes. And the fact that this car's been nothing but amazing for me every single time I get into it and every single time I want to go have fun is just a telltale sign of how great this platform is, that you could just throw on a turbo that could produce more than 100 more wheel horsepower than a stock one, and you could add port injection and do all these crazy things, and the car's going to take it no matter what. Is such a great sign for this community, and such a great sign for how well the platform is. And anybody that's thinking into jumping into a setup like this, or even jumping into the platform because this is going to be your ultimate goal, just get into it. Find a car, make sure that you're buying a good car. I recommend you get a car with a good service history. Hop in it, do what you got to do, modify the car, do it the right way, and have fun. And as long as you take care of it 100% every single time, and you stay on top of everything, the car's going to reward you in a very fun and reliable manner, and that is what we want. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions, please put them down below in the comment section. I really appreciate it. I love to interact with my subscribers. I have a lot of people, always asking me stuff. So if you have any, questions, again, put them down in the comments below. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. When I get to them, I do like to answer on there as well. A little easier for me to do that there. And also, guys, I always link all the tools and parts that I have for my cars and that I use every single day in the description box down below. If you want to check that stuff out, you can click on the links there. It also helps out my channel when you do that. But anyways, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.